Tomorrow morning, the IRS could quietly change the rules that decide whether you get a refund fast, wait months, or owe money you were not expecting. There will be no breaking news alert, no countdown, no warning. And most people will not even realize anything changed until it hits their bank account or their mailbox. Right now, millions of Americans are waiting for one announcement that silently controls their money, their refunds, and their deadlines. It does not trend on social media for long. It does not dominate headlines. But when the IRS issues a tax filing announcement, it affects almost every working adult in the country, whether they realize it or not. If you want to understand these announcements, instead of reacting to them too late, make sure you subscribe to TaxHack Pro so you stay ahead of the rules that shape your money. The Internal Revenue Service, known as the IRS, has officially issued a new tax filing announcement, and this is not just routine paperwork. This announcement decides when filing season officially begins, who is required to file, what tax rules apply, and how smooth or stressful this tax year could be for you. Most people ignore IRS announcements until something goes wrong. By then, it is usually too late to fix mistakes without penalties. Every year, the IRS announces the official start of tax filing season. This is the date when the IRS systems open and begin accepting tax returns. Filing before this date is impossible, no matter how prepared you think you are. Filing after the season opens determines how quickly your return is processed and how fast your refund moves through the system. The filing announcement also confirms which tax laws apply for the current year. Tax brackets, standard deductions, credits, income thresholds, and reporting requirements are all finalized at this point. Many people assume last year's rules still apply. That assumption alone causes millions of errors every tax season. One of the biggest impacts of an IRS filing announcement is on refunds. When the filing season opens, the IRS processes returns in the order they are received. Early filers who submit accurate electronic returns with direct deposit are usually first in line for refunds. But if the IRS announces delays, extra identity checks, or new review procedures, refunds can slow down for everyone. These announcements often signal where the IRS is focusing enforcement. When the IRS publicly mentions increased scrutiny on certain credits or deductions, that is not a suggestion. It is a warning. In recent years, the IRS has highlighted pandemic-related credits, small business deductions, self-employment income, and improperly filed claims. If your return touches any of those areas, accuracy becomes critical. Another major part of the IRS filing announcement is income thresholds. These thresholds decide who must file a return and who may not be required to. Some people assume they do not need to file because their income is low, even when filing could get them a refund. Others assume they must file even when they may not be legally required. The announcement clears that confusion. For employees, IRS announcements affect W-2 reporting, withholding reconciliation, and refund timing. For freelancers and independent contractors, they affect 1099 reporting, business expense deductions, and self-employment taxes. For business owners, they influence reporting rules, documentation requirements, and estimated tax expectations. One announcement touches every income type. Technology is another quiet but important part of these announcements. The IRS consistently pushes electronic filing through approved software and online systems. Paper filing still exists, but the IRS has made it clear that paper returns are slower, more error-prone, and more likely to be delayed. In some cases, paper returns can take months longer to process than electronic ones. Deadlines are always a major focus. While the main filing deadline is usually in April, IRS announcements sometimes confirm deadline changes due to weekends, holidays, or special relief for disaster-affected areas. Missing one of these details can mean penalties and interest that grow quickly, even if you owed very little tax. The most dangerous thing about IRS filing announcements is that they are not optional. Once the IRS issues guidance, it becomes the standard. Not knowing about it does not protect you. The IRS does not send reminders to every taxpayer explaining new rules. It publishes announcements and expects compliance. Many people believe the IRS will contact them if something important changes. In reality, the IRS usually contacts you only after a problem occurs. By the time you receive a letter, the clock is already ticking, and fixing the issue often costs time, money, and stress. This is why understanding IRS filing announcements matters so much. They decide how you file, when you file, what you report, and how smoothly your tax season goes. A single announcement can be the difference between a fast refund and months of delays, or between a clean filing and an unexpected audit letter. The tax system does not reward people who wait and react. It rewards people who prepare early, file correctly, and understand the rules before they become problems. That is exactly why following IRS announcements is no longer optional. It is financial self-defense in a system that assumes you already know the rules. And if you want clear, simple explanations of IRS announcements without the confusion and panic, make sure you subscribe to TaxHack Pro. Because when the IRS speaks, it is not just news, it is instructions.